I'm going to let my intrusive thoughts run wild kidogo too. When people talk about or say things such as God's favorite, I'm usually like, God loves us all, blah, blah, blah. But there are people you look at and you're like, God took his time with these people. Henry Cavill and this guy that acts soap operas, William Levy. These guys, there is no look they can't pull. Absolutely no look they can't pull. Even if they showed up bald, wearing potato sacks, they would still look good. It's such a shame that he's not playing Superman anymore. But in this movie, I would say the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, it felt like he legitimately had fun shooting it. So he has been kind of unlucky with the productions he's been involved in, The Witcher being one of them. But here he legit looked like he had fun shooting this. And yeah, the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare is what I want to talk about. So yeah, let's get into it.
What's the plan? To neutralize the German U-boats in the North Atlantic.
The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. It's a story that is based on true life events. It's basically surrounding the conflict between the Nazis and practically everyone else. And there were a team of people that were sent to destabilize them kidogo, and they were part of this team. And the guy that leads the team is Gus March, played by Henry Cavill, and him as a person was what inspired the creation of what we know of as James Bond. So it's quite an interesting story behind the whole movie. So yeah, I think that was what made my interest peak. Although you tell me Henry Cavill is in something, I'm there. You don't even have to convince me. I'll be there. But I think the whole story behind it was really interesting, especially the James Bond aspect of it, because there was a time people wanted him to play James Bond. I would want him to play James Bond. He usually says that he's a bit old, but the Bosman guy played his James Bond character when he was, I think, 42, and he just turned 40, so he's not too old. So it's either he doesn't want to play the character legitimately, or probably the studios don't want him. I don't know why they wouldn't, because if he was James Bond, his fans and the James Bond fans would be foaming at the mouth, and they would literally pay. He would be a cash cow if he was James Bond. So I don't know why. Maybe Hollywood doesn't like money anymore, so too bad for them. But he's also involved in a couple of projects. I know of God of War. It has had some scandal surrounding it, and I'm like, Henry Cavill, Connie, who did he wrong? His productions are always full of dramas behind the scenes. Look at what happened to him with the Superman role. Look at him playing The Witcher. As in, I don't know, maybe he needs prayers. But anyway.
We both know that I'm not very popular with the administration.
The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare was a breath of fresh air. It wasn't a serious movie. It was a fun movie. And besides Henry Cavill just having fun playing this character, because I haven't seen him playing an unserious role, as in he's just free-spirited. He's really cool. He's the boss, yes, but he's not like a conventional boss like we see him on like in roles such as Superman or The Witcher. He's just fun. He reminded me of his role from Uncle, and I think it was directed by the same person. Those roles kind of play off each other, but this Gus character was just out of this world, eccentric, he was just out there, cool looking, and the mustache. I remember hearing, or rather listening to an interview, tidbits of it, where he was like, he literally had to train the mustache to stay a certain way. So it was months in the making for it to just come out like the way it did.
Gus March Phillips, I have a mission.
The other thing that stood out for me, besides it being fun, the characters. Every character here was A plus. Henry Cavill just didn't shine on his own. Every character stepped up. And the character that stepped out for me is the chick that was called Marjorie Stewart, played by Aiza Gonzalez. Oh, that character was so sexy. She was sexy. She was in control. She knew how to take care of herself and was like, Hollywood, take notes. This is how you write strong female leads, You can't be just all man. These days, Hollywood here, strong female lead and they just turn a woman into a man. No, she was eccentric, she was sexy, and she could take care of herself, she could fight, she could shoot, she had her own agenda in all this nonsense. Every character in this show had their own, in this movie rather, had their own agenda. And that's what I love, when people write out characters with their own agendas. They're not just cardboard characters. It really makes me fall in love with the characters. I also liked Alan Richardson character as well. And he was just fun. He's a big guy, but he has like this voice that doesn't really look like it would come from such a big guy. And I think his expertise were, shooting arrows. Yeah, as in he was like really, really good at that. I really loved his character. The other character I didn't expect to like was this guy who's called Hero Fiennes. He plays Henry Hayes. I've known Hero as one of those guys who does rom-coms, this weird fantasy rom-coms. There's a movie he does, or rather he's done. I think it's a trilogy, or I think it's a book series, and he plays this Henry Styles kind of character. He's very broken. So I've never seen him. I would not have pictured him playing such a serious role, but he pulled it off, and I think that was really nice. The other character that made my day was Mr. Heron. He's played by Babs, and I remember when I saw him, I was like, Dune. That is where I remember him from. I saw him and I was like, Dune, I know you from Dune. And his character was really fun. He was a serious businessman from Africa, And I really loved the representation here. There's no way you would expect Black people integrated in the European culture at that time, because it was at World War the First World War, if I'm not wrong. He's not just any African man. He's a man of stature. He has businesses. He runs hotels and all these things off of the coast of Africa, in the West African region. And that's where their operation is mainly based, where everything will go down. And the pirates as well. As in, I really liked the representation here, the female representation, the people of color representation, meaning Black people, the representation here made sense. It would make sense for such a character such as Mr. Heron to have some kind of interest in this war, because the Nazis are probably affecting his business off of the coast. So he has stake in it. He's not just anyone. He's not a tea of noble blood from Europe. That person would not exist. He's just a businessman who has his own intention, and he sees it all through. He doesn't play a loud role, but his role is very integral in everything. So I really loved this movie. It was fun, it was eccentric, things blew up, and yeah, it was a really great movie. I really enjoyed it. It wasn't showing from where I was, so I had to wait for it to come out on digital. So yeah, I had super, super, super fun watching The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. That title is so long, I usually forget. It.
It's very good.
The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. So yeah, it was such a cool movie, and I definitely recommend it. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it. Tell me what you think about it, and I'll see you on the next one. I had so much fun doing that review. So yeah, see you on the next one. Bye.